Now, if you're tired of standing here for hours and hours, hand watering your garden, wasting time, not being very efficient, then this is the video for you. Now, drip irrigation system is where it's at. You know what I'm saying, folks? But there's many different kinds of drip irrigation, right? So let's talk about it and have some fun while we're at it. How you doing, folks? And welcome back to the farm. Chad here in our glorious garden here at the Hidden Spring Farm. It's 100 feet by 54 feet approximately, and really we have bed after bed after bed full of yummy vegetables. Now I'm gonna go over two things in this video. I'm gonna go over every single piece of equipment and tools that I'm using to install this drip irrigation system, and B, I'm gonna walk you through how I am installing in my own personal garden, because every garden's different, but at least you'll get a really good idea on how it's done and what's required to get her done. Hey buddy, what are you crying for? You want to come in the garden? Okay, come on, let's go. Ozzy, you take care of the mice, okay? Now let me show you what it is you're gonna need to get this done. We got a 1/2-inch tubing. Then I have two different types of fittings that use the 1/2-inch. So there's this type, this is a T, and you basically unscrew that and then fit the hose over there, and then you tighten it back up again and you're good to go. I also got a bag of these things. These are just the push-on types. That's like an elbow. This one's a T. This one's just a coupling to attach two of them together. So off Amazon, they come in a big bundle like this. There's like 200 pieces in here. I don't really know exactly how many pieces I need because my garden here is very complicated. Your garden may be simplified, may be complicated, so you just do you, right? Try to do a calculation as to how many fittings you're gonna need to snake your thing around. This thing is like a filter, right? You attach your hose onto this, and basically it allows you to clean it out if it gets gunked up. Sometimes there's small particles or debris inside the water lines. You don't want to get any sand into the drip irrigation because it'll just clog up the actual sprayers. But then there's also this little gizmo. You stick the 1/2-inch tubing in there, and this side connects to the hose. So basically that's what I'll be screwing onto there, which will allow you to put the tubing there, and then from your water source, this is where you put your hose, your garden hose. I have landscape spikes like this, and that's just going to help me hold down the tubing, and I also have a little hammer to help me pound these in. I got the tubing right now sitting in the sun, right? So this is actually hot to the touch because it's been sitting in the sun. That's what allows you to work with this a whole lot easier, so there's a little tip for you. I also have the 1/4-inch tubing. This is a 100-foot roll, and basically this is what you run from the 1/2-inch to each individual sprayer. Now you run this along wherever you want the water to be, and you puncture this. This is the tool that you use to puncture the tubing. You can use this 1/4-inch tubing with this tool or the 1/2-inch tubing, whatever. But in my case, I'm not just going to be puncturing a hole in here. I'm going to be running the lines with this thing. This is a pressure compensating sprinkler head. It's a little miniature sprinkler head. They're a dime a dozen on Amazon. There's a whole bunch of them on there. Just make sure you get the pressure compensating kind, okay? Because there's a whole bunch of cheapy knockoffs out there. It does get clogged up. This comes apart, and you can kind of clean all what's in there, and you can clean the head, and it's really a lot nicer. It's not like a one solid little piece. This can also be adjusted, right? So you can unscrew this to make the spray come small, or you can do it tighter so that it'll be a tighter spray. Of course, you can't forget this thing. This thing is what cuts the tubing. It's a lot easier than using scissors because it's really designed and it holds the tubing nicely in there. Now for the 1/4-inch tubing, I just got myself a multi-pack like this. Again, you get it off Amazon. It's a dime a dozen, but this has 300 pieces in it. and it's just a variety. This is an example, and this fits the 1/4 inch tubing. They have elbows like so. They have little elbows like this, and these little tiny things is what I'll actually be using to connect to the sprayers themselves. And then once it's all said and done and you have your setup, you want some kind of a timer. I use this kind. I've been using this for many years now and it works really good. This particular model has 4 zones, so it's quite easy to program. This is a Vigoro brand. There's many different brands. You just have to find the one that suits you, the one that you can afford. I don't recommend this over any other brand, so take that for what it is. But my garden is fairly complicated here, so I'll be using all 4 of these. The trouble with drip irrigation is that if you just run one line to do this entire 100-foot garden, this is like what? Like a 5,000 square foot garden? The first 6 or 9 sprinklers will be getting lots of pressure, and all the others won't get it. That's why you want to have the pressure compensating heads. You do have to put a little thought into it. You can't just copy identically what it is I'm doing in my garden, because your garden is going to be probably severely different, right? So take that for what it is. You'll get a really good idea once you see how I'm installing this stuff and how I'm running it, and I think it'll benefit anybody who's looking into doing this kind of drip irrigation or little sprayer irrigation. Now, because our garden is long this way and short this way, I'm probably going to start way up there, run a main line all the way down here, and then each individual row here, I'll be having a T with a branch, and then I think that's the ideal. I think that's the ideal in our situation here. And because I have the main gate where I come in with my tractor, I don't want to have that tubing running along the ground there, so I'll be running just a regular garden hose to give me water over there, and then I'll snake it all the way around, and it's going to be awesome. I hear a cat crying. Who's that? Chunk? Oh, there's Maggie. Hi, Mags. You're in my camera shop, bud. Ozzy, I'm working, buddy. Okay? What I'm doing is I'm just putting the tubing as close to the bed as I can so that it doesn't necessarily interfere in the walking areas. You want to try to minimize that as much as possible. So to set up one bed, our beds are 8 feet, so I figure I'm going to have 3 of these little sprinkler heads, and I'm going to need the tubing, and I'm going to need these little things. That's what you spike into the bigger tubing, and then this will allow this small tubing to attach to it, and then the other end of the small tubing attaches to these little barbs. So I need 3 of these. One there, one there, and one there. That's where this little gizmo comes handy. If you look closely in there, you see that little poker? So as soon as you wrap this in here, the little poker pokes a hole. So the 1/4-inch tubing just stabs onto that barb right there. Should be relatively simple to just push it on because I've had this sitting in the sun. It's not bad. There's the finished thing. And I'm going to open this up all the way, I guess. Basically, once you get this on, you figure out where exactly you're going to place it. And then you just measure out to where your hose is. Mine's about right there. So that's how the barb looks once you get it on the little hose. And then there's the hole. You're basically pushing it right into the hole. Like that. Done. Perfect. And there it is, up to here. And I just need to do that 2 more times. This is an 8-foot bed, and I figure I'm going to put 1, 2, 3 of these things. Right, Olive? 3? Now, although this kind of irrigation system is very easy to install, the trick is that you need to discover on your own, depending on your own setup, how many sprinkler heads, or if you're just using the drip tape, how much pressure can it handle. As an example, we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of those little sprinkler heads. They're geyser sprinkler heads. I'm going to turn the water on now to figure out how much water comes out of those, so that I'll know if I can add more, or do I need to stop at just the 9 nozzles. I'm pretty sure I have it all closed off. It's just those 9 nozzles that's going to turn it. Let's get the water connected. There we go. That bed has 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 in this bed, and 1, 2, 3 in this bed. You can see it snaking all the way up. So nice. So the piece of equipment that I'm using on the end of the hose is this. This connects to the actual hose, or in my case, I'm going to connect it to a filter. This filter just basically has a little screen inside so that no debris can end up inside the tubing. You don't want any small little particles of anything getting into those small little nozzles. So this just has a little thing that you stab this and get it on. There, that's simple. And then this gadget is an actual filter. There is a little arrow on here that tells you which direction of the flow. So this is where the hose gets connected, and this is where the irrigation system gets connected. There's loads and loads of brand name of these on Amazon. Just find whatever you want. It's just called a filter. There, just like that. I'll connect this to the hose. I'm not attaching the timers or anything like that yet. I'm just gonna put the hose on here and turn it on, and we'll see where we're at. Let's see where we're at. I hear water. Whoa, whoa, the thing came off. I didn't put it on tight enough. So it's a geyser. So you can see that there's too much water coming through. It's watering all of this. Now, I can probably adjust each one of these so that it's just a little bit of water, but I think I could probably do an entire row and still have enough water pressure in that one tubing right here. And here's a good shot as to how it looks. It's really like a geyser, eh? So it gives you a nice spray pattern, and if there's a bunch of leaves around here, the leaves will help block it in. But if I want to adjust this, you should be able to. See, that's closed all the way. So really, I could just do this if I wanted to keep just this 9, but I think there's more than enough pressure that I can probably get away with doing those beds and those beds. But you see what I mean, how it's up to you to kind of figure that part out in your own garden setup. Here's a good shot of the 3 lines. The main line, which is a 1/2 inch, and each one of these is a 1/4 inch. You stick the barb in there, you stick the 1/4 inch on, and you stick the other end onto the geyser sprinkler head. And the geyser sprinkler head is in fact adjustable. You just simply unscrew it a little bit and you'll get a big geyser. If you keep it tight, you'll get a small geyser. Let's see where we're at now. So we have 1, 2, 3 beds, 4, 5, 6 beds. Remember before we only had 3. This one seems to be very powerful. Check it out. It's getting all the onions perfectly wet, but there's still some overspray. This is the end unit. These are all our peppers. It looks like 2 of them are okay, but this one's not working at all. Maybe it's not on. Whoa. Okay. And those tomatoes, they're getting a little bit wet. That one needs some adjustment because this one's just dribbling out. So a little bit more open. Yeah. That one's working. That one's working. I shut that off because we don't have anything growing there, so I turned it so it's closed. Then we got more onions over here, and that one's not working very well. That one's working good. This one's kind of not working well. I gotta adjust it a bit. There you go. That's nice. So it's gonna get wet here. This one's gonna get wet here, and that one's covering that. This is good. I think I can keep going and do those last 2 beds, and there will be a 3rd future bed, which is not even built yet. But this is good. So with 1 tubing, 1 hose, 1 line from the garden spigot, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I wonder after we do those 2, if we'll still have enough pressure to do 1, 2, 3. That's why it's pretty important to get those pressure compensating nozzles. You can also do this with drip tape, which is just a tape. Instead of those little sprinkler heads, you just poke holes wherever you want the water to drip out. I don't want to go for that system because then you have to actually plant the plants right where you put the hole. And it's year over year of extra use and reusing and taking it apart in the winter and then setting it all up again in the spring. I didn't want to go with the tape, but it's your preference. There's no right or wrong way to do it. But I'm very pleased now with the 1 line. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got 10 beds. Each bed has 3 of those sprinkler heads, but every single garden is going to be just slightly different. So you need to set that up based on your requirements in your own garden. Carrots aren't looking too bad. You can see the overspray is reaching each side of the bed over there, and then this spray is coming here so that this spray is also going there so that all this gets done. That's a perfect setting. This one's not coming out at all. So what's going on? Okay, there we go. There we go. You see how they're adjustable? Now in our particular case, we have one of these frost-free yard hydrants, and then I have my regular hand hose, and then I just have this hose that I just set up. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 nozzles available, but I have that hose going in there. It's coming down there, and that's what connects to those 4 units, and that's what connects to the timer, to the system. Now let me just recap the whole thing before we close out. You got your timer. There's many different kinds of timers. I'm using the kind of timer that basically has 4 zones. Then I got a hose connected to that filter, and the filter keeps out the debris. And then there's the 1/2 inch. I haven't yet finished all this section here because I'm going to put one more bed, so I'll just disregard that. And then that basically snakes down to this bed and goes off this way, which I haven't connected that yet. Continues down. You can see there's the 3 little 1/4 inch lines that are going to the sprinkler head. Now all our radishes are getting some high quality H2O. Then that continues down that way to reach those beds, and it also branches off this way to reach this bed. This is our carrots, and you can see it's working really good from here. Boom. Getting some nice spray, some nice coverage. So I do hope that helps anybody who's looking to install a similar system. And all this stuff is available on Amazon. And you know, if you have any questions, just drop it in the comments and I'll be sure to answer as many as I can. But other than that, I do hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was somewhat entertaining and informative for you. You can subscribe to the channel. We do all sorts of fun farm stuff here at the Hidden Spring Farm, and we can really use support as we continue to build our channel. Okay, so thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next episode. And I'll put a video up on the screen if you want to watch. It's all about everything that we've done on our homestead in the first 4 years. It's kind of a recap summary type video, so you don't have to go back and watch our 700 videos, but it'll bring you up to speed with all the happenings on the farm.